No matter what the year is, there's going to be risks, no matter what the year is. In 1900, if you and I were doing this webinar today, which we wouldn't be able to do because Zoom doesn't exist, but say we're having a meeting and there's 1,000 of you in the room with us and we're talking about what's on business owners' mind, everybody would be thinking about industrial accidents and strikes, unsafe factories, large labor stoppages. So imagine you're going to work and your peer that you've been working with for the last 2.5 years just died from a job site, something that happened. That was a regular day. Johnny just died at 38 years old. You're kidding me, babe. No. Went to work, an accident, fell on him, he's dead. Serious? How often do you hear those stories today? Not that often. It was very normal in the 1900s. So companies were thinking about what can I do to make my place a safer place for my employees to work. Again, that's 1900s. 1925, it was overproduction and price collapse. Farm glut crash, commodity markets, everybody was being a little bit too greedy, and that's what they were facing at that time. We know what happened in 1929. 1950, it was nuclear war risk, Cold War tensions, Korean War supply rationing. People were worried, tensions were high in a very different way. 1975, we're going in 25-year increments. Energy crisis and inflation, oil embargo, stagflation, global recession was in 1975, is what people were thinking about. 2000, dot-com bubble burst. Tech overvaluation wiped out $5 trillion of market value. And that's in 2000. That is a lot. If you were to say, what's that $5 trillion to today? That's like wiping out $20 trillion today during that time with the dot-com bubble. It was a big concern. I had just gotten into the stock market right after that in 01, day before 9/11 was when I started. Trust me, all the people that were there were just recovering from the dot-com bubble. And then 9/11 happened. And then if we come today, cybersecurity, geopolitical instability, large-scale hacks, AI misuse, global conflicts, a lot of this is going on. On the second half of the webinar today, I'm going to give you the 8, risks that you're seeing. 3 of them have to do with AI. One of them is something no one is talking about because everybody's like, oh my God, is my job going to be replaced? All this other stuff. A guy sends me a Manek today. I'm talking literally 30 minutes before I jumped on here. And he's saying, I'm in LA. I'm working with a very big Hollywood producer. Many of you would know. But AI is replacing my job. What he does is he does graphic for movies. And he went to the right school. He did everything right. He's worried what's going to happen with his job. Do I go somewhere else? The advice I gave him had to do with today's PowerPoint, specific on what I'm going to talk about in the second half of it, because not every threat in AI is what you think it is. Some of it is a complete opposite of what everybody else is fearing, which is replacing their jobs. So let's continue. Having said that, there's 3 different types of threats. No matter what the year is, you have 3 different types of threats. You have the evergreen, which is no matter when the season is, those threats are going to be there. Number 2, you have evolving threats. These are things that maybe they were a different kind of a threat 9 years ago. They've evolved into even being more powerful, so you got to be aware of it. And then number 3 is the black swans that you're going to be experiencing. We will talk about that, the 5 of them, all the way at the end of the webinar before I tell you where to go get this PowerPoint that we have here with you. So now, let's get into it. Evergreen. This is what cybersecurity breaches is looking like right now. Those numbers that you see to your right, you see how it says 2018, it says 86. If you go up top and you look at cybercrime expected to skyrocket, do you know what those numbers are in dollars? In trillions of dollars. Most people are probably watching and saying, this has got to be billions, right? Nope, it's trillions. What does that mean? In 2018, estimated annual cost of cybercrime worldwide was $860 billion. And that's 7 years ago. You know what it is today? $10 trillion. We just experienced this a couple of weeks ago. I was telling you about it earlier. This is happening to everybody. I'm in the financial industry. We have nearly 750,000 people that bought an insurance policy from us. The other day, we were looking at our numbers. We have roughly $100 billion of life insurance policy, death benefit, protected with clients nationwide in 50 states, okay? That's what we have. What do you think they're targeting? They're trying to get clients' information. So this is a real issue that you're facing. And the way we'll break down the issues that we're talking about today, we're going to explain it in small, medium, and large businesses. So let's start off with small first. So this makes sense to some of you guys that are smaller. 43% of cyber attacks target small businesses, not the big ones. So they're coming after you, just so you know that. Cautionary tale, a boutique design firm lost all client files to ransomware and couldn't pay $20,000 demand, closed in 6 months. When you're a small business, you know how much $20,000 is? A lot of money. I remember when we started our insurance company with $500,000. Later on, we sold it for $250 million. But when I had $500,000 in a bank, and my wife would come up to me and say, we need to buy this software for $25,000, I would say, I can only make a $25,000 decision 20 times. And when we went down to $100,000 and I had $10,000 in the bank, I'm like, I can only make $10,000 decisions. So if I was making a $10,000 decision, I'm like, oh my God, I only have 9 more left, if you know what I'm talking about. So $20K when you're a small business is a lot of money. We were all the way down. One day when I came home and I saw my wife, we were living at the summit in Woodland Hills, California. She had just gone through a miscarriage. She's in the room in tears. I'm going downstairs, walking around, listening to 80s music at 1:30 in the morning. And you know what? I knew that nobody else knew. I was down to my last $13,000. That was it. I had nothing else left. No credit, nothing. No money left in the insurance policy. All I had left in my mutual fund, savings, everything was the last $13,000. I couldn't sell any card. I sold the rookie card, Kobe Bryant, that today is worth a few $100,000. I sold it for $17,000 because I needed money. I got rid of everything, and I'm down to my last $13,000. So when you're a small business owner, $20K can put you out of business. So imagine if that would have happened to me when I had $13,000. And they got to take $20K. I can't pay payroll. I can't pay insurance. I can't pay E&O. I don't exist. Valuetainment is all gone because I was not ready for cybersecurity breaches. So combating this, you got to use MFAs, regular backups to office drives, and affordable managed security services. Now let's go to midsize. Midsize average $3.5 million per breach. A regional hospital system phishing breach exposed patient data, triggering HIPAA fines and lawsuits. Combat this. How do you fight against this? Quarterly phishing drills, endpoint protection on all devices, and cyber liability insurance. I'm about to show you one of the drills we'll do here together with you. So all of you guys know, you're going to be thankful because I'm telling you, this is targeting everybody. They target me when I tell you one of these stories. Large enterprise breaches average $5.13 million. MGM Resort just 2 years ago, massive company. A phishing attack led to $100 million in operational and reputational damages. So combat, zero trust network design, 24/7 security operations center, and segmented network architecture. So watch this. Let's go through it together. This is an email that they send to you. The email comes in, sounds like it's professional. The subject matter is something that tells you, oh my God, this is exactly what it will look like. A payment you haven't made, right? We need some kind of information. And what most people don't look at, they don't look at where the email is coming from. So it looks like a real email, and it'll say secure-mail, and let's just say the company's name is whatever, USAT, but they'll do UST.HK, and you never looked at that. So you open up the email. And nowadays, they know who works at the company, so it'll come from a name that you recognize. Could be the VP of Finance, could be anybody. Or it can be somebody that's phishing because a payment wasn't made on a bill that you have to be like, oh, okay, we got to pay it in finance, right? Failure to validate your account may result to the loss of. Threatening use of their account can be deleted. You do not respond. You see help desk. Whenever you see no name on the bottom, no real person's name included, no mention of a phone number to call or person to contact, you know it's something you have to be worried about. Watch this. 2.5 years ago, I hire a guy that becomes my finance guy, okay, VP of Finance. One day he comes in, and I notice he's upset with me. So the entire day he's giving me attitude. And this guy's I've only hired him 4 weeks. Prior to that, I'm like, a new guy doesn't give, I'm like, so finally I say, hey, can I talk to you? I'm trying to find out how to work with you. You seem very like you're upset today. So of course I'm upset. I said, what are you upset about? He says, I sent you $2,000 yesterday. You don't even say thank you to me. I said, what? You sent me $2,000? Yes. I said, why did you send me $2,000? You know why? You were in the airport and you didn't have your credit card and you didn't have your phone number and you needed it. I sent it to you from my own personal credit card. So I'm like, buddy, I was not at the airport yesterday. I was given a meeting. What do you mean I needed $2,000? You know exactly what I'm saying. I'll show you the email. He shows me the email. And I'm like looking at the email and I click it. Everything shows Patrick Bet David, except when I click it, It's valuetainmenthelp.com, whatever the word was next to it. I said, that's not my email. His face gets red. One, he's embarrassed. Two, he's not getting that $2,000 back. And you know what it was? He was a VP of finance, and Phishing got the VP of finance. Just a few weeks ago, we had the same thing happen again to us. $200,000, give or take. That just happened right now. And you know what it was? Same exact thing. You forgot to pay this bill. So billing department goes in. They're just thinking they're doing the bills. They're getting so good at phishing where they know how to make the email so real that they're seeing it. Yeah, boom, send a payment. Bank comes back. Why'd you send a payment to this one? You've never sent it before. Yeah, it was just a payment that we had to make. Nope. Phishing. Oh, boom. Then we had another one. I'm not going to give you more specific. This is a real thing, to the point where quarterly we're training our guys to not do this. And no matter how often we train on this, it's happening right now regularly. Something for all of you guys to be thinking about. It's happening all the time right now. So now, intellectual property theft. According to USPTO, one in 5 small firms have experienced this. An Etsy shop, best-selling designs were copied overseas and sold at lower prices. Register trademarks early, use watermarks, and monitor online marketplace. A lot of people nowadays use Future Looks Bright. Our lawyers get a hold of them. We have a trademark on it, so guess what? That's our brand. That's our design. And we have a way of tracking that regularly, even when it's international. Medium, IP theft can cost mid-sized manufacturers 10 to 15% of annual revenue. A Midwest tooling company lost proprietary CAD files to a competitor via ex-employee. This happens all the time. So how do you combat that? You got data loss prevention tools, enforce NDAs, limit file access to role-based permissions, and make sure people know that if they do this to the company, there is severe consequences, so other people don't want to do that. We're going through it right now with somebody that did this for many years, and it's not pretty what's happening to the individual. Everybody else needs to know. You don't want to do something like that. It's not only career-ending, it hurts your reputation for the rest of your life. And in large, you got the U.S. IP theft costs $600 billion annually. Just Tesla in 2020. Engineers stole 26,000 confidential files before joining a competitor. So watch this. Would you say you're a pretty smart person watching this? You may say, I'm brilliant. Do you think you're smarter than Elon Musk and his leadership team? What do you think? They did this to him and his leadership team. You think if they can do it to Elon Musk, a $400 billion guy, they can't do it to you and I? They can do it to anybody. That's where we are today. We have to find a way to play defense. This is the part that's defense. So continuing with IP theft, which we talked about earlier, $600 billion. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because U.S.-China, this has been a battle that's going on between them for a long time. And a lot of people that are business owners here have been complaining to the U.S. government saying, hey, these guys steal our stuff, and they don't seem to be held accountable. Look how much they've been competing on the AI that they've caught up to U.S. from where it was 2024, just a year and a half ago, to where they are now. 20% of North American companies reported that Chinese-based companies stole their IP within the prior year. That's 20%. Watch this one. 33%, 1 in 3 businesses, said the theft had occurred at some point during the past decade. This is real. They know how to do it. They're better than most people here on how to do it, and they find a way to get that IP, and then they go sell it over there, and they got 1.5 billion people to sell to. They don't need America to sell that to. You get the idea? Again, you got to play defense in this area. Talent drain. This is the next one, labor shortages that we're facing. 45% of small firms can't file open roles right now. Local cafe closed 2 days a week due to lack of baristas. Think about it. You can't find a barista. They can't find a barista. So what do? You got to find a way to be flexible with your schedule, hiring bonuses, partnerships with vocational schools, working locally. I was just in Arkansas 2 weeks ago, and this small business owner that they make windows. And there was all these skills you have to learn how to do to make the windows. So I said, how are you competing against everybody else? One of the things that we came up with after we spent 2 days with them in Arkansas is to make sure that you are putting the training facility there in Arkansas, so you're training people locally on how to work for you, that you don't have to bring people in from other places, because they were in a very small city, Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's not like they got access to 1 million, 2 million people. So they started training vocational schools down the street from their office, so they train people locally. And this is a company that does about $100 million of top-line revenue. Then you got medium-sized. U.S. Chamber of Commerce said 77% of mid-sized firms report difficulty filling skilled roles. A regional construction company delayed projects 9 months due to skilled trade shortages. Again, goes back to the same thing. Large Corn Ferry, big recruiting firm. We've spent some money with these guys. These are the guys that you go hire somebody that you're going to be paying $1 million a year, and they take 20 or 30% of first-year salary. So you pay 20%, $1 million, they're going to take $200,000 to go find that person for you. They said 85 million worker shortage by 2030. That's an $8.5 trillion lost revenue. Major tech firms losing senior engineers to startups offering equity stakes. This is actually happening today. So how are some people competing against it? Retention bonuses, leadership development program, and global talent sourcing. But let me continue. Watch this. 74% of employers globally say they cannot find the skilled talent they need right now. That's 74%. I'll sit weekly. We had it, matter of fact, today with my HR, me and Tom are sitting there with our chief HR officer, RJ, and we always have a list of 10 people that we're hiring next and our top 10 people that we're targeting right now. And there are certain jobs that we notice with the talent pool that we have here in Fort Lauderdale that we have to go nationally. Now, fortunately, we're at a point right now that's different than what it was 4 years ago. This year, we've had 20,000 resumes sent to us. So we have access to a lot of people that want to come here, but certain jobs may not be a lot of them here in Fort Lauderdale, so we have to go get them from other states and have to recruit them in many different creative ways. But you have to be looking at that. Everyone's going through it today. So a few things with shortage of talent. Number one, aging workforce. 10,000 boomers retire daily. So shortages in healthcare, trades, trucking, and manufacturing. Number two, skill gap. Not enough STEM trade grads. Millions of tech jobs unfilled by 2030. Low participation. Many out due to disability, caregiving, early retirement, and gig work. Next one. This is something that I was talking to the guy about today on Connect. Reskilling. People are sitting there saying, man, I got the wrong major. I went into poli-sci, and I have nothing to do with poli-sci right now. Let's just say, I don't know if you've ever met anybody that got a major in like national security, hypothetically. I don't know who would do that, but let's say you get a bachelor's and master's in national security. How do I use that in my job? So maybe I got to go learn AI. I got a major in fine arts. Oh my God, fine arts pays me $32,000 a year. I'm trying to have a couple kids. I can't do anything with that. So there's never been a time to be focused also on reskilling. We are going to a conference ourselves because we're trying to reskill ourselves when it comes down to a certain segment of the business that we're obsessed with right now. So the reskilling, very important. Number 5, mobility and immigration limits, housing costs, licensing laws, visa caps, restrict talent flow. We all know what that's all about. It's a lot of politics going on there. But the reality is all of these encompasses the U.S. talent shortage that we have today, which, by the way, if you're watching is saying, I am a talent, great, you're good, go compete. Market's looking for you. But if you're a business owner watching and saying, how do I find a talent? You also have to come up with creative ways to compete in that area. Now watch this. This is what a criminal looked like in 1940. You got the mob walking around doing their things. You know what a criminal looks like today? This is what they look like. It's a 17-year-old kid at his house, knowing how to hack a system and get into things. It's a very different way of doing it. So operational dependency on single suppliers today. We've experienced this for the last 20 years. 60% of small businesses rely on one primary supplier. A bakery shut down for 3 weeks after its sole flour supplier went bankrupt. Where am I going to get this is the only guy I know. Well, you got to go find it. We got to close for 3 weeks. You close for 3 weeks. All the people that were coming to your bakery, now they got to go find a different place. So always have 2 to 3 vetted backup vendors. We lost at the beginning when I started my own insurance company, I lost 2 carriers. One day I'm having a meeting with AIG. I'm about to lose AIG. If I lose AIG, I'm done. The moment I saved AIG, the first thing I did is I went on the road to get 5 other insurance carriers to make sure I will never be too over-reliant on one carrier. Life-changing for us. Medium, supplier delay costs can cost mid-sized businesses, manufacturers, $10,000 to $50,000 per day. Regional apparel brand missed an entire season after fabric supplier factory fire. Think about that. Right now, our shoe just came in today from Italy. I literally went and sat down and wore it, and it looks ridiculous. Do you know when we went to Italy, we deal with 5 factories. What if one of the factories had an issue? In Italy, they take 3 weeks off, and nobody works. Like right now in Italy, ain't nobody working in Italy right now. Trust me, it's a beautiful place. No one works. From around August 6th till about September 2nd, they're not working. They're Urlaubing. It's a German word, but they're on vacation, right? What if that happens? You're affected by. We wouldn't have had our deadline with our shoe. So you have to be dual sourcing, regional diversification, and safety stock And obviously with the bigger companies, when it comes down to chip shortages, this happened to a lot of different companies, specifically with Toyota. $210 billion in auto industry loss. In 2011, Toyota relied on single microcontroller supplier in Fukushima, halted global production. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more for you to see this. The cause, an earthquake. Imagine a company as big as Toyota. Don't you think a company that's worth as much as Toyota is worth would be a little bit more prepared of what's going on? But it was a tsunami. It crippled key microcontroller supplier. Impact was down 78% year over year, and the number of vehicles they were able to produce, that's 150,000 vehicles lost. Think about that, Toyota. Global production cut by 3.6 million units, and it cost several billion dollars. But what happened to Toyota can happen to any one of our business owners, you, I, any one of us that's going through this, right? So bottom line, a single supplier failure halted Toyota's global operation for weeks. Let's continue. This is another one. Chip shortages today. 62% is in Taiwan. Why is this important? Let me tell you why it's important. Do you know who's watching the whole thing that's going on with Ukraine right now in Russia? You know who's watching it? China. Do you know why? Because guess who China wants? China wants Taiwan. If Putin wants Ukraine and the eastern part of Ukraine, China definitely wants Taiwan. So if let's just say China does something and they end up getting Taiwan in the next 4, 8, 12, 15 years, whatever, pick the number, right? So now they have control of 62% of semiconductors that are made in Taiwan Semiconductor Company. Really? Yes. What kind of control is that? A lot. Who's second place? Samsung at 10%. These are things that you may be watching and saying, I'm definitely not going to be buying semiconductors from Taiwan, but man, I'm running a restaurant and there's only one place I get beef from. You better get diversified. Yeah, I'm running a real estate company. This is where you better get diversified with the amount of people that are doing appraisals. You better be diversified with escrow. You better have a couple different options. It's what's happening all over the place. So cloud outage cascade. This was a big issue the last few years. 60% of small firms closed within 6 months of catastrophic data loss. A marketing agency couldn't access Google Workspace for 3 days, lost major client. How much of the revenue you think came from that major client? A lot, 30 to 50%. So local backups and offline contingencies matter. Here's another one. Downtime costs mid-sized firms $9,000 to $25,000 per hour. CRM outage froze a mid-sized SaaS sales pipeline for 48 hours. How much money do you think that is? Multi-cloud redundancy again, disaster recovery testing, cached offline data. Bigger companies, AWS had an outage. Think about AWS. What company is bigger than Amazon? Not many of them, right? It's one of those multi-trillion-dollar companies. $150 to $200 million outage cost in 2021. Who was affected by it? Netflix, Venmo, Disney, all of them were impacted. Even they have to find ways to protect themselves. Watch this when you're with the cloud companies, right? AWS at the top, then you got Azure, you got Google Cloud. I've worked with probably 4 or 5 of those names on that list. You have to know this is something that even the bigger companies are being affected by, let alone the small ones. Next, double down on your core product. This is very important because I just had a conversation about this weekend. And we went out to dinner, and I'm sitting down talking to a couple of my executives. And this may be the next slide that I'll show you. To 5% of you that are watching this may be the most important slide for you. I know a lot of you guys are waiting for the last 8 slides, which are the AI redundancies, which are the over-reliance on AI and a few other things. But for some of you, the 5% of people, this may be the most important thing. Let me explain to you. Food industry reports show over 80% of new customer packaged goods fall within 2 years. A cafe doing $1 million in sales with 12% net margins risk wiping out profits if even one CPG launch fails. Think about that. So if one of the consumer packaged good doesn't work, you lose your entire net profit. So key expansion experiments under 10% of operating budget until traction is proven. Next one. In 2015, Under Armour, we all know Under Armour, revenue peaked at $5.3 billion with 30% growth year over year. By 2017, 2 years later, after failed expansions into connected fitness and lifestyle apparel, its stock dropped 70%. Instead of reinforcing its performance year dominance, Under Armour chased Nike's diversification model and lost billions in market cap. Last one, Quibi, raised $1.75 billion. I'll never forget this. They spent $63 million of ads. They were paying actors $100,000 per minute to act. $100,000 per minute to act. Drew 910,000 trial users, but dropped to just 72,000 paying subscribers by September 2022 versus Netflix, 200 million. They were trying to make 13-minute movies. I don't know if you remember these shows that they were doing. It was short. Billions couldn't fix poor product market fit. It became one of the fastest collapses on streaming in history. By the way, all the big names were involved. eBay involved. Katzenberg involved. You name the biggest firms giving money, all involved. Like this, gone. All the biggest actors were all involved. Gone. Why? Trying to do too much, right? What about to do this? What about to do this? Didn't work for them. So watch this one right here. Very important slide that we just talked about the other day. When you look at this, double down on your core product. When I'm building my insurance company, everybody would come and say, what if you do real estate? What if you do, auto insurance? What if you do that? What if you do that? What if, all these products. What if you do merchant accounts? What if you, I'm like, you know what? Our core competency is life and annuities. That's what we're focused on. We did not look anywhere else. The company grew. Everybody else was trying to be holistic. We dominated. When you look at some of these industries, look at this. Core competency in utilities, 112% share of revenue growth by growth type from 2015 to 2019. Utilities down. Secondary industry is down 18%, and the new industry is up 6%. While you go, what pattern do you notice? In almost every single industry, what's dominating? The core competency, the core product. Don't get too distracted. Our core product with what we're doing here, it's not podcasting. It's not merge. It's Bed David Consulting. Our consulting firm gets about 70% of the revenue of the entire company. Most people don't know we run a consulting firm. We have clients. One client came in today, $20 million business they just sold. Another client came in today. We're doing a merger with them. Another client came in that's sitting down trying to find a way on how to start a new business. Another client came in. They're trying to sell their business for a couple $100 million. We're sitting out from all over the world. Another guy came in. You guys know who he is. Very major influencer. Every other month, he's with me for 2 hours. He flew here from Canada. We sit down. We had a great conversation together. People come from all over the place, but our core competency is consulting. So for you have to think about it. What is your core competency about instead of trying to be way too creative with everything that you're doing? Succession planning, important. So 60% close within 6 months if the owner is incapacitated, okay? Small businesses, if the owner doesn't work for 6 months, that business is done within 6 months. There is no replacement for that guy. Family-owned HVAC firm collapsed when founder passed unexpectedly. Identify, number 2, document core processes, and keep power of attorney ready. Okay, medium. CEO turnover without succession plan causes average 4 to 6% revenue drop. That's another one. Large, lack of succession, $1.8 billion average market cap loss. Disney 2022 CEO change led to strategic confusion. Do you know how much Disney lost? Do you actually know the number? They were a $380 billion company, give or take. You know what they went down to? A $160 billion company. They lost $220 billion because they couldn't figure out certain things with the 2 CEOs. Co-CEO, new CEO, CEO comes back. It was a mess. I think it was a guy named Bob Chapek and Bob Iger going back and forth. A lot of issues there simply because of succession planning. This one right here is very interesting when you look at it. Why companies struggle to prepare for the future. When you look at this, it's important. 45.9% of respondents indicated that they do not have a management succession plan. They revealed that the biggest obstacle in creating one has been the following in the chart. Let's go through some of them. One of them, 15.8% is people issues. 15.8% is also time. Shareholder agreement, 18.3%. 5% is giving up control. 7% is other. 10.5% is next-gen readiness. 13.2% none. 13.2% again, don't know what to do. So for me, when I was getting ready to sell the insurance company 5 years before I did, I started targeting who could replace me. I went and interviewed everybody in the office. I would say, if something were to happen to me, who do you think could be the president of the company? Well, I think it's 5 positions that really fill your replacement, which was right. I had 5 different positions. And I said, if it's 5 different positions, first time I tried to sell the company, they offered me only $120 million, and they offered me without me leaving, and they want me to stay for another 5 years. I didn't want that. Second time around when we sold it for $250, but I knew my replacement. Lady Moral that had been with me she was my banker at WAMU many years ago, went and got her MBA, UCLA grad, brilliant, became the president. Then another guy named Tikran who was, became the VP of distribution, running the entire field. We had all these executive team. They took all my 5 jobs. I sold. The business nearly doubled in size, and they didn't even feel anything that I wasn't there. 3 years later, everything's been happy. New buyers are happy. We're happy. Why? Because we actually started succession planning 5 years ago before the event even took place. So if you don't do it, it's very problematic. Next, promotion planning. Misplaced promotions drive 20% higher turnover. Local shop promotes best salesperson to manager. Sales dropped in both roles. I've promoted so many salespeople that were terrible managers, and it didn't work out. Just because somebody's very good at selling doesn't mean they're a very good manager. Medium, Gallup, 82% of promotions misaligned with skill. Manufacturing plant promoted top engineer to supervisor without training, morale sank. So you may be a good engineer, but you suck with people. So maybe before we promote you, we have to teach you how to have crucial conversations. We need to send you to training with, Ritz-Carlton, Dale Carnegie, to be better with people. Even though you have a very specialized skill, you need to learn how to hold people accountable. You need to learn how to have the tough conversations. So we need to do that. Large company leadership mismatches can delay initiatives by 18 months. Microsoft's 2013 silos hindered cloud growth, assessment centers, transparent career ladders, mentorship. Again, these are things that you can do, but from now, I'm talking to a guy, him and his father working together for 12 years. He is so sick and tired of working with his father. His father gives him power for 3 months, takes it away, gives him power, takes it away, gives him power. He's messaging me saying, I'm ready to walk away from that. It's the toughest decision that I'll have to make in my lifetime, but I'm on my way out because I can't work with this man anymore. Okay, think about that. All they have to do is have that conversation together to be able to do it. But no, that's a challenge because the father doesn't know how to do succession planning and promotions. McKinsey surveyed 189,000 people in 81 diverse organizations around the world. The report found that 4 kinds of behavior account for 89% of leadership effectiveness. This is according to McKinsey. Solving problems effectively, operate with a strong result orientation, seek different perspectives, and supporting others. Think about that. Solving problems effectively, this is a person that can be a manager, operate with a strong result orientation, seek different perspectives, support others. 82% of most companies fail at hiring managers. Of managers don't display leadership skills and abilities needed to perform well on the job. That's Gallup, 82%. So guess what? Maybe we need to, before we promote somebody because we want to make them feel good and make them like us, maybe delay by 90 days or 6 months, and maybe invest into them to become better leaders. Maybe that's what you need to be doing. 2 times a year, we make this investment. We take all our managers, nobody works for a full day, and we train them 2 times a year, and we bring outside organizations to come here and teach us. We do this 2 times a year, and then every month we do management training in the office, but 2 times a year, it's 1 full day that everybody steps away for us to do this. So personal life maintenance. This is your personal life. Watch this one. Some of you guys are going to be like, this is my favorite slide. This is me. This is what I feel because I'm burned out. Well, let's talk about burnout. $125 billion to $190 billion in healthcare costs yearly over burnout. Small business owners working 80 hours a week had a health collapse, halting operations. So delegate, set work limits, truly have certain people that are going to replace you and do certain jobs and allow them, empower them to do the job. But if you're in the startup phase, this could be challenging for you for a minute until you get there. Mid-sized firms see 30% productivity drop in burnout teams. Agency lost 2 key managers to stress-related resignations. What can you do? Sometimes you have to sit down and tell a person this, hey, Johnny, what's that? Take a week off. I did this 2 months ago. Call the guy. What's up, Pat? Hey, man, I said, when's the last time you took PTO? Haven't taken it for 2 years. You're taking the rest of the week off. What am I going to do? I don't care. Go somewhere. Go have a good time. Enjoy yourself. But it's time for you to rest. You sure it's not going to? No. You got to. I've done this with many of my guys. Now, some people are on the opposite side. Some of you guys take a little too much PTO. You don't understand? Like, you use all your sick days. You use all your PTOs, and you ask for 6 more days. This is not pertaining to you, Johnny. I know you're thinking this. I'm so burned out. No, you took all your sick days. You got plenty of stuff that's going on with you. Large. World Health Organization. Burnout costs $1 trillion globally. Startup founders missing growth due to exhaustion. This is a real thing. So now, how do you guard against this, right? Data, cautionary tale, and how to combat this. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, But a high-profile startup founder, Justin Cant, admitted his mental and physical burnout cost him millions in missed opportunities. Sometimes if you're not working out, you don't eat right, you're not getting the right amount of sleep, you may not be that present in the meetings that you're having for negotiations, for offers, for hiring, for a speech you're giving. Some of those things can be in place, and sometimes some companies need to have enforced real PTO usage. We have sometimes guys that don't want to use their PTO. I'm like, no, you got to kind of take it. You got to take it and go have some fun for yourself. Family development. You ready, family? Let's talk about this. High parental involvement reduces teen risk by 40%. Owner's family disengagement led to strained relationships during expansion. Your family, what you're going through, they're also being affected by it. Okay, certain things you got to figure out depending on what age your kids are. I got a 13-year-old, I got an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and I got a 4-year-old. And they all need something different from their daddy and from their mommy. Very different. But if it's important, we got to work on being able to do this. Date nights, getting away from the family, getting away, not from the family, with the family. Sometimes you got to get away from the family, but you also got to get away with the family. Both are appropriate. But this is something you got to be thinking about. Watch this one here. The importance of father involvement. You ready, fathers? I'm talking to you. Look at this here. Children who grow up with involved fathers, 39% more likely to earn mostly A's in school, 45% less likely to repeat a grade, 60% less likely to be suspended or expelled from school, 2% as likely to go to college and find stable employment after high school, 75% less likely to have a teen birth, 80% less likely to go to jail. So guess what? Be involved with your kids. During summertime, my kids were here every day. If they're not doing Muay Thai, if they're not doing kickboxing, if they're not doing gymnastics, if they're not doing any of that stuff, they're literally at the office every day. And guess what they do? They're just walking around, having fun, talking to people, learning new skill sets. But be involved. There's ways of doing that. This next one was something that we spent a lot of time talking about when I was on my conference at MGM Grand Arena a couple weeks ago. We had nearly 10,000 people at this event. And I talked about how easily you're offended. This is important because if you're someone that gets offended easily, it's almost impossible for you to create momentum in any relationship. Business, personal, family, any of that stuff. So let's kind of go through this, and we're all guilty of this. Watch this. Conflicts cost small business owners $359 billion in lost productivity annually. Owners' public blow-up at staff meeting caused 3 resignations. Very common. Poor conflict handling, 31% higher turnover. You know, public missteps and handling offense can wipe millions in brand value. Uber 2017 PR meltdown over cultural criticism. A driver is giving the CEO some feedback. He snaps, the video's posted, the guy gets fired. It was a mess on how chaotic it was to work at that place. We got a couple people who heard that. One of them specifically, that was an executive at Uber. You hear a lot of stories like this. So 96% of employees saying getting regular feedback is a good thing. Employees want feedback, okay? 64% of employees say their workplace has an employee feedback program. Most places, they don't have it. We like to ask the question, what do you think? Now, we want the people to have more moral authority, but at the same time, how easily are you offended? Something happens, customer, employee says something, you take the day off. Oh my God, I can't believe they said this. You got to be very careful. Momentum takes away a lot of momentum from different people. So now, before we go through the last 8 slides, which is AI for me to give you this webinar, we have 8 more slides left for me to cover with you. The AI disruption, one of them that is not talked about enough is how AI is backfiring in many industries. Yes, backfiring, specifically in restaurants and customer service businesses. I can't wait to share that with you. And one of the ones that I call it the open door policy, I talked about this a lot in Vegas 3 weeks ago because it's important. But prior to doing that, let me tell you about what's happening with us that we do once a year. You've seen the ads all over the place. It's not like you don't know what's happening September 8th through the 11th. It's an event I host once a year called the Vol Conference. This year at Vol Conference, we're having Tony Robbins. If you've never seen Tony Robbins speak, whatever you do, come see him. He's speaking for 2 hours with a 15-minute Q&A. Martha Stewart, whose documentary was just off the charts, she'll be there. I'll be interviewing her. And David Falk, if you've ever seen The Last Dance or if you've ever seen the movie Air and you see the guy that's negotiating on behalf of Michael Jordan, David Falk will be at the event. At this event, we go through this 300-page, last year was 244-page manual. This year's 296. We go through this manual together over 3.5 days, and we do a bunch of case studies. At any point, you can be sitting next to a person that just sold their business for $400 million, or you could be sitting next to somebody that came with a father and son. They're going through transition of what to do with their business. Then a big YouTuber you recognize is over there. Then a podcaster you recognize over here. Then a private equity guy's over here. Then a Goldman Sachs guy's over here. People from all walks of life in the same room wanting to improve themselves. So here's what we're doing for those of you that want to find a way to take your business and your life to the next level. I believe 2026 is going to be the greatest year in the history of America. I really believe that. I think 2026 is going to be magical for the economy. Rates are about to be lowered apparently 3 times for the rest of the year. This is what the market's dropping. 2026, if these pieces here, tariffs are scored away, do you know what's going to happen to the stock market? Do you know what's about to happen to the crypto? Do you know what's going to happen to a lot of people that are going into business? Whatever you do, don't go through the season by yourself. I keep telling this to everybody. Don't say, I'll go to the event next year. I'll go to this thing next year. Not my suggestion. My suggestion is make a decision to go to the Vault Conference, to be in that room with nearly 10,000 other people from 60-plus countries. First night, we're doing something we've never done before. We're opening up the entire session, few thousand people networking by industry, AI, real estate, insurance and finance, transportation. There's going to be an event section that there's going to be a deal room for people that want to do deals upstairs. You want to raise money. You want to deploy money. That networking opportunity will be there. Last year, we had 1,500 husband and wives that came. We're expecting 3,000 husband and wives to come this year. And for those that buy a CEO ticket, which is, it's been sold out, so you can't have access to those anymore. They're $20,000 tickets, fully sold out. Afterwards, we're shutting down Universal Studios. You can go on Velocicoaster as many times as you want. You'll be with 600 other people just hanging out, networking, having a good time, going on rides. We're literally shutting down the park. So, a couple things I want to share with you guys for this. September 8th through the 11th. Number one, the first 5 people that go purchase a platinum BOGO, buy one, get one free, get access to Universal Studios after party. This is a $5,000 thing that we're doing because you'll be with all the other CEOs. But the first 5 people, you buy 2, you get one BOGO you get one ticket for free platinum. You'll sit a little bit closer than general folks. But at the same time, anybody here that makes any purchase on the tickets that you have today, anyone that purchases a BOGO of general tickets will enter a raffle within 24 hours to get a Universal Studios after party. Anybody that purchases even a single ticket, you'll get access to Valuetainment Vault Academy for 30 days. Take any courses you want on there for free. Public speaking. You know, you could do selling, business strategy. Any of that stuff will be available to you for 30 days. Anyone that buy, even if you just buy a general ticket or founder, anything, you're going to get that. The first 100 people that also purchase a ticket today on this webinar, the first 100 people at the Vault, you're going to get a signed copy of your next 5 moves. We've never done this kind of an offer for something like this. We never done it, but we're excited about this year's Vault. There's so many major announcements. We want to see all of you guys there. So this is the QR code for you guys to go get those tickets for yourself. You can go to thevaultconference.com/webinar, thevaultconference.com/webinar. Be sure to place your order, especially those of you guys that want to get the BOGOs, that want to go to the after party. And those of you guys that want to get the signed copies, the first 100, be sure to go to that QR code, register for yourself so we can see you guys at the Vault Conference. Having said that, let me get back into the webinar. So next, evolving threats. Evolving threats are changing. This is AI, okay? And job displacement, which is something a lot of people are worried about. 40% of small business owners tasks could be automated by 2030. That's 40%. Small accounting firms lost clients to AI-powered competitors. So the key today is upskilling and being ready to integrate AI. Medium businesses, AI adoption could change 25% of roles in mid-sized businesses. Cautionary tale for that, call center cut 30% of staff after AI chatbot launch, damaging service quality. We're going to talk about that here in a minute as well. And last but not least, big firm Goldman Sachs, 300 million jobs could be automated globally. IBM paused hiring 7,800 roles, anticipating AI replacement. These are things that you need to be thinking about that is happening. When you look at this, this tells you which industry is being replaced by AI the most and which one is not. So the simplest way to put it to you is yellow is not, orange is. So whichever industry, like you see legal is not being replaced as much as the other ones are. Matter of fact, legal is being replaced the least, okay? Most of the tasks that they have cannot be replaced by AI. Some of it can, 46% of it can, but 50% of it can't, and 4% no impact. Supply chain, 18%, little impact. 39%, no impact at all. 43% is going to be AI. Now, if you go all the way to the top, look at IT. 73% all AI. Finance, 70% is all AI. Customer service, 67%. So this is a pattern that you're noticing. HR and marketing is going to be replaced by AI, but not at the levels that everyone is thinking. So now, this is the problem. The problem is with the over-reliance on AI. AI is going to do everything for you. That's not really true. AI outages can halt all operations for firms that are fully dependent on a single tool. Local e-commerce shop lost sales for 2 days after AI product recommendation service went offline. Stability AI outages in 2024 halted thousands of dependent startups. Regional marketing agency lost major client after AI copy tool failed mid-campaign. And pricing errors can wipe out hundreds of millions of dollars from revenue. Zillow alone, Zillow's AI pricing model caused $500 million loss before program shut down. So let me continue with this when it comes down to over-reliance. This is a very important study. Gartner, big consulting firm, focusing on customer service, reveals that 50% of organizations that plan to replace staff with AI models are reconsidering it. Nearly all surveyed, 95%, now plan to retain human workers and evaluate AI role models strategically. You know what that means? They went to AI, oh, we're coming back. This didn't work. Because customer service, people want to talk to people. They don't want to talk to a machine. Klarna, 2022 layoffs. They cut 700 customer service jobs, replacing them with OpenAI power agents for translation, data analysis, and more. Quality dropped. Service suffered, with the CEO admitting cost-cutting had gone too far. What do? They're now rehiring humans, especially for customer-facing roles, which means if you have soft skills, if you're good with people, you're always going to be needed because people want to talk to people. And by the way, one other thing that happened here with YouTube just announced on July 15th last month, moving forward, if you make AI-generated content and your YouTube has 2 million subscribers, pays you 80 grand a month, overnight, YouTube announced, we're no longer paying AdSense for AI-generated content. Even YouTube said, we want you on camera, not some AI making the videos. Think about that. YouTube is noticing patterns to say people want to watch other people, not just an AI. Let me continue. Geopolitical uncertainty. This is happening right now. 1 in 5 small exporters face disruptions from 2024 global conflicts. Artisan exporter lost EU buyers due to sanctions. This is happening. You got to pay close attention to it with tariffs. This is something you guys can go through on your own, that this is happening. The geopolitical uncertainty tracker, it's real. It's going on. You guys, when you guys get the PowerPoint, you can come back and look at this here. Let me get to the slide one. This one's a little bit important because we've gone through this as well. Climate events have doubled insurance premium in some U.S. states. Beachfront Cafe closed after flood insurance was canceled. We know what's going on with California right now. A lot of insurance companies are leaving. Insurance companies are leaving Florida. Hurricane and fire. You have to be very careful with this and pay attention to it. Mid-sized companies. Carriers exiting wildfire zones force mid-sized firms to self-insure. Winery in California lost coverage and faced $2 million liability gap. State Farm and Allstate halted new policies in California. I think Geico also left. Florida's insurance market collapse left thousands of properties uninsured. This is a real thing that you have to pay very, very close attention to because premiums are going up. Look at the chart to the left. That's from 1982 to 2024, okay? Notice how since 2020, motor vehicle insurance rates have risen by 53.7% in only 4 years. So if you were spending $5,000 a year on auto insurance, now it's $7,500. If you were spending $1,200, now it's $1,800 and change. An average property insurance premium, look what's happened since 2016. 2016, the premiums even went down. Look how much it's gone up when you look at those numbers. This is a real thing that you got to be taken into account, especially when you're running a company and you want to be very careful with your expenses. Misinformation and deep fake threats, another real thing that we fall for all the time. At the lowest level, if you go on Twitter, just watch how many people will fall for, certain Twitter accounts that seem like they're Business Insider, but it looks like everything's the same, but it's Business Outsiders. And they'll make lies and people retweet it. And they'll retweet videos. There's videos of me, it's not me, talking about stock. We've reported to Facebook. Facebook doesn't take it down because it's such good AI. They think I have a crypto accelerator. I've never had a crypto accelerator. I don't tell you what stocks. There's one video that says, I guarantee you this stock's going to make you money. It's not me. It's AI. But with deep fakes, those things exist nowadays. So 43% of small SMBs have faced reputational damage from online misinformation. Local politician targeted by fake video hurting campaign donors' businesses. FTC deepfake scams cost $2.6 billion in 2023. CEO Voice Cologne tricked staff into wiring $50,000. I have an old friend of mine who is now one of the members at the Cigar Lounge. Matter of fact, both of them are. There was a guy named Kahindi, and there's another guy named John. John knew how to do Kahindi's voice. He called me one time. We had a 5-minute conversation together. The entire time it was Kahindi. This is 12 years ago, when he made this 10 years ago. If a human being can do it, AI is going to be able to do it better. Do not fall for the phone call that's your CEO with a fake call coming in that looks like your CEO's calling and you're believing them. Text them right afterwards saying, is this you or not? Verify. These things are happening right now. Deepfake-driven fraud can exceed millions per incident. UK Energy firm CEO clone voice led to 220,000 pounds of loss. So deploy deepfake detection. These things exist for you to check it. Before you're going to make a big financial decision, verify where it's coming from. A CEO of this research company called SumSub talked about how deepfakes from Q1 2023 to 2024 in gaming has increased 1,520%. Look at the nations on the right. America's increased 303%. Look at some of the other countries. 822%, 1,550%, 2,800%. This is the future. You're going to see campaign videos. It's a lie, but it's going to convince people to not want to vote for that person. It's coming to a city near you. It was already used last year. Is this the last one, Kelly, that I'm going through, or do we? Oh, we have we have one more. Is going to be the last one, but this is probably one of the most important ones for me. I call it your door being closed from 6:45 to 7:50, and I'm in Vegas. I'm sitting with 9 of our biggest players. These are all guys that make a lot of money, ranging from $1 million to $2 million plus per year. They got big businesses. And I said, I'm curious, if I came and inspected your office, is your door open or is it closed? Do people have access to you? Are you accessible? You know what's funny? Mark Cuban is worth nearly $10 billion. Do you know if I send a message to Mark Cuban, within 30 minutes, I get a message back from him? The guy's worth $9 billion. We don't agree with politically on many things. But he responds. How did he become a billionaire? How are some of the most successful people I know so quick at responding? These are some of the most successful people that have done very well for themselves. Why are they so quick? So the open door policy is a risk. Watch this. Leadership inaccessibility increases turnover risk by 12%. Retail store manager never interacted with team. Morale collapsed. Employee engagement 20% higher with open door policy. Plant supervisor aloofness slowed process improvement. Insulated leadership leads to cost blind spots. Boeing 737 MAX crisis worsened by executive detachment. Accessibility is critical. Open door policy, critical. It's a very important thing that most people don't pay attention to that is so important. Does your employer have an open door policy? 63% said yes. 9.9% maybe, but I'm not aware of it. 7.8% said no. 19% said yes, but I don't feel like they uphold it. This open door policy allows people to come to you sooner so you can, resolve issues faster. Now, I don't mean interrupting. I don't mean disrupting. I don't mean people that have a pattern of complaining. I'm not talking about complainers. I'm not talking about crap magnets, that people that are always attracting crap. I'm talking about people that actually want to come talk to you because an issue just went down and you're accessible, they can get a hold of you. One of my recent individuals I hired, and she posts a 90-day review is what she posts. And I read her 90-day review on LinkedIn. And one of the most memorable things she wrote in that 90-day review, because people, what is it like working with Patrick? This guy is so accessible. I didn't think he was going to be this accessible. I can get a hold of him at 10 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock in the morning. He responds back. He's accessible. It's important. Not to everybody, but to the people that have a pattern of getting things done. So Black Swan, it's the last one I'm going to talk to you guys here before we wrap up, and then I'm going to give you the PowerPoint for you guys to go get. Black swan is a real thing. We experienced it in COVID. And there's still a possibility that these things are going to happen in the next 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years. When a country starts winning a lot, they want to target them. When people are not happy with others, things can happen. So EMP space, weather event. We haven't thought about this. Is EMP possible? Always pay attention to movies. Movies always tell you what's going to happen in the future, right? They'll create this stuff and you're like, iRobot. We're never going to have robots. Elon Musk said they're going to be making tens of millions of robots, selling them at $30,000 a pop. And they're planning on making 10, 20, 30 million robots in the next 5 to 10 years. You're going to have a robot in your house here soon. That's here. The drones that you see all the drone that was in a couple movies 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Guess what? Ukraine's war with Russia, it's drones. They're producing 1,000 drones a day at $500 and they're attacking $5 million machines. So EMP is something that could possibly happen. Family crisis, what we talked about a bit earlier, you got to pay attention to that. That can come out of nowhere. Sudden collapse of key personnel role. 40% of small firms depend on a single person for core knowledge. Bioterrorism, new pandemic variant. It's very likely. The other day they told us there's a new variant that's going in China. And who knows what, this was like 2 weeks ago. COVID-19 cost global economy $12.5 trillion. These are real numbers. We went through it. I know we move very fast as people and we just kind of move on. That was just 5 years ago. When this happened. That wasn't 40 years ago. That was 5 years ago when our kids weren't going to school. That was 5 years ago when we're sitting there watching TV in Italy where people are talking to each other through windows. That was 5 years ago when parents, grandpa's about to die at the hospital, the grandkids can't go say goodbye to the grandfather. That happened 5 years ago. So you just have to, this isn't to scare you. This is to tell you, you need to be around other people to create a community, see how they're solving these types of problems. This is the worst time to go through these things by yourself. One of the things I love about the Vault when we have 10,000 people in the room is how many business deals and relationships are being built. My favorite part is when people tell me, we met at the Vault, my husband and my wife and I, and him and his wife, we went to Europe together for a week. No way. Yeah, we're friends and our kids are together. Really? Yes. Those relationships. So you see how other people are overcoming these challenges. And the last but not least, this is Brandon's key here, quantum decryption breakthrough. What they're building right now, if you see some of the stuff they're building is coming very quickly. The advancement, you thought ChatGPT was a big deal. What they're building with these things, the advancement's going to be insane. And it's accelerating very fast. So these are the 20 threats that we had to businesses in 2025. And again, before I give you the entire PowerPoint, reminder again to all of you. For those of you that want to go and bring your wife, your husband, your peers, your executives, your team, your friends with you to the Vault, the first 5 people that order the BOGO for Platinum, you will automatically get a ticket to go to the after party at Universal Studios. Oh, my God. Okay, got it. All right. Okay, sounds good. So this is going off right now. So the first 5 people that order the Platinum BOGO, you'll get access to go to the Universal Studio after party, which is going to be insane. I'm going to be there. My kids are going to be there. We're walking around. We'll have conversations. The entire PBD podcast crew will be there. A lot of interesting people are going to be. The average person that's going to be at the after party at Universal Studios spend $20,000 on a ticket, just so you know. Of course, you're not going to have access to the other CEO sessions because that's sold out, but the after party for the first 5 that do that. And then anybody else that buys the general ticket, buy one, get one free. Buy 2, get one free. You'll have a raffle that we'll do within 24 hours. Anyone that buys anything to the Vault, even if it's a general ticket, in the next hour, you'll get unlimited access to the Vault Academy for 30 days. And then the first 100 will get a signed copy of your next 5 moves. When you go to the Vault conference at registration, they're going to hand you a your next 5 moves signed copy that'll be handed over to you. And for those of you that haven't yet gotten your tickets or registered, go over there to the left. That's the QR code to get your tickets right there and register for it. I can't wait to see you guys. Truly, my favorite part of the year is when I go to the Vault Conference. I'm on stage for pretty much 40 hours, okay? But this year I'm going to be on stage with Tony Robbins, Martha Stewart, David Falk, Tom Ellsworth will be on stage, learning how to raise money, all this other stuff. But it's the Q&A. When we do the case studies and I get down and walk around and go shake hands and talk to different people, it's such a magical event when I see families together, husband and wives together, and you see husband and wives having breakthrough. It's so awesome. It's like re-engagement of life, of dreaming, of excitement, what we want to do with our legacy, with our family. There's something very, very magical when you're in the room. It's like, you ever heard a song by Alicia Keys, Fallen, and then you gone to her concert? How different is it when you hear the song versus you're at the concert? You ever gone to U2 and you listen to With or Without You, or you hear these songs, you're like, oh my God, what a great song. I just love, I can listen to U2 and drive the car with the top down, wind hits my face. I'm so excited. But if you've ever been to a U2 concert at Dodger Stadium and all of a sudden you're there, you're hearing it, it's magical. If you've never been to the Vault Conference, here's the only thing I will challenge you to think about. If you go one time, you ain't going to go only one time. You go next year and the following year and the following year. Everybody that goes one time, the next time they bring 5, 10, 15, 20 other people with them. That's what a pattern is with what happens at the Vault. So if you're somebody that's got big plans in 2026, I'm telling you, don't go through it alone. Go get yourself a ticket, get registered, come spend 3.5 days with us, September 8th through the 11th at the Gaylord Orlando. And I think the hotel has a few rooms left for some of you guys that haven't registered yet. Stay at the property and call them and get your rooms as well. But I cannot wait to see you guys there. And like the promise we gave you from the beginning to now, the entire PowerPoint is available in the PBD Entrepreneur Circle. There's a free component to it. The $5 component, you can talk and communicate with others. But for free, go get the PBD, the PowerPoint from today. The whole thing's waiting for you over there in the circle. For everyone else, last thing to be thinking about, don't tell me about your kids. My kids are going back to school. Don't tell me about your anniversary. Don't tell me about the birthday. Don't tell me about all this other stuff. We're talking about changing your life in ways you've never had before. Make a decision. This is the last call for you to make the decision for yourself to go to it. I'm challenging you to make that decision for you and your family. Cannot wait to see you guys at the Vault. God bless everybody. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye, bye-bye.